The lights blaze in Detroit. The roar of Ford Field is thunderous. Each fan strapped into hope. On one sideline, the Lions, a team already chasing playoff dreams. On the other, the Giants, a squad bruised, battered, but desperate to prove they still belong. This wasn't just Sunday football. This was opportunity, redemption, momentum. And when the final whistle blew, it would be etched into the season's biggest turning points. Detroit entered Week 12 with real expectations. Positioned at 6-4, they were knocking on contention's door. Quarterback Jared Goff had been steady. Amon-Ra St. Brown stood out as a go-to threat. Jahmyr Gibbs carried danger in the backfield. The formula was clear: execute, control, and finish. For New York, at 2-9, the narrative was different: redemption, not reckoning. But for every winless stat, there was a spark, a chance to shock, a chance to lay a foundation for something more. The slate was clean. The lights were bright. Everything came down to what happened next. The Giants opened with a moment that stunned Detroit, a trick play. Quarterback Jameis Winston handed off. Everyone bit, and Wan'Dale Robinson was standing alone in the end zone. 39 yards later, touchdown. Giants lead 7-0, barely 2 minutes in. The Lions, momentarily stunned, answered. On their drive, Goff found St. Brown. Short throw. He turned it into 6. Detroit was back, 7-7. But New York wasn't backing down. Winston rallied, marched his team down, and found Isaiah Hodgins on a 12-yard touchdown. 17-7 Giants. But Detroit's running game refused to be quiet. On a design play, Goff gave to Gibbs. He danced, slithered, and found the end zone from 3 yards out. The lid stayed off the game, and as the half waned, Detroit kicked a field goal, tying it at 17-17 going into halftime. Second half was pure battle. Neither defense cracked. Neither offense exploded. The Lions ran methodically, ate up clock, and kept the chains moving. The Giants pressed, trying to force a mistake. Detroit's discipline showed. They didn't panic. They didn't take wild shots. They played smart. And by the end of the quarter, both teams knew the game would be decided late. Into the fourth, the Giants struck again. Gunnar Olszewski took a 33-yard catch to the house. Boom! 27-17 New York. The stadium crackled. Detroit fans held their breath. But the Lions responded like a team that believed. Goff handed off to Gibbs. He went 49 yards, weaving through defenders, leaving chaos in his wake. 27-24, Detroit was back in it. The crowd was electric. Time was running out. The Giants moved into field goal range, then stalled. Delay of game. Penalty. Detroit got one more shot. They trimmed into position. And then, with jaw-dropping distance recording, Jake Bates nailed a 59-yard field goal. 27-27. Overtime. The unthinkable. Overtime. The moment of truth. First possession for Detroit. No room for error. No margin for second-guessing. On the very first play, they handed it to Gibbs. He saw a crease. He hit it. 69 yards later, touchdown. Game over. Lions win 34-27. Giants go home stunned. It wasn't just a big play. It was a statement. A terrifying running attack when it mattered. Gibbs wasn't just a weapon. He became the dagger. Goff's poise. Never panicking. Always making the right reads. Defense played disciplined, especially in the moment. They kept the Giants in check when the heat was on. For New York, they showed flashes but couldn't close. Big plays were there early, but they couldn't turn momentum into a win. Their defense gave up the big play in OT. Their game management faltered in crunch time. Now, the Lions are 7-4. The playoffs are no longer a dream. They're in view. This one could be the spark that changes everything. Confidence, belief, momentum, all recalibrated. For the Giants, 2-10 is harsh. But this game may be their turning point. They prove they can score. They prove they can fight. The next step, turning that fight into more wins. And for the NFL, this is pure drama. This is football's beauty. When games swing on a few big moments, the season is richer for it. If that finish didn't give you chills, you weren't paying attention. The Lions come back. The field goal from halfway down the field. The long gashed run in overtime. This was NFL theater. If you like this breakdown, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for Current Affairs Hub. We dig into the biggest moments in sport, strategy, and story, and we're just getting started. Drop a comment. Backhand index pointing right, do the Lions have what it takes to ride this wave to a playoff berth? Backhand index pointing right, can the Giants build from here? Or was this just a flash in the pan? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, where the stakes are higher, the plays are bigger, and the story never stops.